Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Monday, July the 28th. We're here to look at the new releases and mysteries and crime fiction and thrillers that are published this week. We do 3 shows a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Mondays, we look at the cozy mysteries. On Wednesdays, we look at the crime fiction and thrillers. And on Friday is sort of a finale Friday. We look at what we didn't get to on those 2 days. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Monday night. Our next sprints are tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. We do the sprints every Tuesday and Thursday evenings and Saturday afternoons for a total of 10 hours. Let's jump into the cozies because there's a lot of them as usual, but it's the first of the month, so there's a lot. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Mine wasn't too shabby. First up, Valerie Burns has a new one in the Baker Street Mysteries. This is 4th. It's Icing on the Murder. Aunt Octavia would be so proud. Maddie has turned Baby Cakes Bakery, named for her 250-pound English Mastiff baby, into a runaway success. And she's marrying the love of her life, veterinarian Michael Portman. Hashtag dream wedding. Plus, the timing couldn't be better. The country's biggest bridal expo has come to New Bison, Michigan, and Maddie has secured a spot for Baby Cakes to showcase their cakes. She's also entered a contest for an all-expenses-paid wedding extravaganza offered by world-renowned wedding planner Serafina. I would think as a vendor you couldn't put your name in to win the prize, but unfortunately, supremely nasty Serafina truly takes the cake. She makes the worst bridezilla seem like a shy flower girl. But there's one thing the wedding planner didn't plan on: being impaled by one of the skewers Baby Cakes uses on their tiered wedding cakes. While maid of honor Sheriff April Johnson rounds up suspects at the expo, Maddie and her aunt's friends, the Baker Street Irregulars, and even Baby join forces to unveil a killer hiding in plain sight before wedding bells start to chime. Solid Gold Murder by Ellen Byron, 2nd in the Golden Motel series. Good morning, Elena. You're good? Oh, good. 2 more days to my birthday. I was remembering that. The next time we see you on Wednesday, you'll be older. It'll be your birthday. So happy early birthday. With the summer season looming, former Hollywood sitcom writer Dee Stearns has one small goal: scrubbing her motel's unflattering moniker as the Murder Motel. Dee and her ex-husband turned business partner Jeff Cornetta are excited to introduce a family-friendly planning activity complete with panning activity. It is right. Complete with fool's gold just in time for the peak tourist months, except neither could have anticipated the discovery of a real gold nugget or the ensuing social media frenzy. In a flash, the viral sensation draws grizzled prospectors, wide-eyed adventurers, and trend-chasing thrill-seekers to the abandoned mines scattered around the woods. The instant popularity proves great for business, but it also attracts a group of out-of-touch Silicon Valley techies with dreams of striking it rich again. Dee finds herself particularly annoyed by the insufferably smug Sylvan Burr, a retired CEO who sold his startup before age 30 and won't let anyone forget it. But things take a sinister turn when Sylvan meets a grim fate at the bottom of a mine shaft, leaving Dee at the center of a deadly mystery that could end her days as a motelier. And while Sylvan had plenty of enemies, Dee suddenly faces adversaries rooting against her own success. Now, with her life and the future of the Golden Motel hanging by a thread, Dee must unearth a minefield of suspects and outwit a greedy killer before she finally digs herself too deep. Lynn Cahoon has a new one. 7th in the Kitchen Witch series, 7 Secret Spells Casters. Besides her witch's training, Mia has a lot on her plate with her catering business and cooking school in the Idaho town of Magic Springs. Why does this sound familiar? I guess it's not. As All Hallows Eve approaches, Mia has almost completed her apprenticeship with Grands and must decide if she will choose the coven. At the same time, her boyfriend Trent's familiar, Serby, an adorable Maltese whose powers are far greater than his 6-pound fluffy body might suggest, has flunked out of hellhound training at the werewolf camp. Something about a dragon? What's more, the National Office of Magical Creatures has sent an investigator to check out suspicions regarding Trent and Serby. But when the investigator is found floating dead in the river behind Trent's cabin with Serby's paw prints nearby, Mia's boyfriend and his furry friend become murder suspects. Now she'll have to use her own powers of investigation to save them both. Kathy Daly has a new one in her Bake Shop at Holiday Bay series. This is actually a new series by her. This is book 1. Bake Shop at Holiday Bay, Black Forest Mystery. Set in the charming town of Holiday Bay, Maine, Bake Shop at Holiday Bay follows Piper Fairchild, a spirited event planner who moves to town with her lovable dog, Penelope. After connecting with Cricket and Marnie Abernathy, owners of All About Bluebells, Piper meets Paisley Bradford, a young woman with a dream of opening her own bake shop. The two quickly form a bond and join the warm, welcoming courtyard family, including Lou, Cricket, Marnie, and the rest of the crew you know and love. In book 1 in this series, Piper manages to land a job planning an exclusive black tie event to be held at a local estate, only to find a body in the bedroom just hours before the first honored guests are due to arrive. End of row 1. All right, doing some housekeeping there. Didn't get to. Vicki Delaney has a new one. 6th in her Tea by the Sea Mysteries. Tea with Jam and Dread is the title of this one. Long ago, Lily's grandmother Rose worked as a kitchen maid at the Thorncroft Castle, and now Elizabeth, Dowager Duchess of Throckmorton, is celebrating her 100th birthday. Rose still has fond feelings for her one-time employer, so a group trip to Yorkshire is planned. It's also an opportunity for Lily to visit her boyfriend, who's currently working in England, and to indulge in some British tea. Much has changed, however, and the ancestral home is now a luxury hotel, which will be closed for a week to accommodate the Big Bash, much to the chagrin of Elizabeth's grandson Julian, leading Lily to overhear an argument among the younger generation about the fate of the family fortune. Little do they know that Elizabeth plans to sell the famous Throckmorton sapphires out of the family for the first time in centuries. The icing on the cake comes when the jewels suddenly vanish and things really go nuts when a party guest dies from an allergic reaction to almonds that someone smuggled into Lily's coronation chicken sandwiches. Now she'll have to scour the property to find out who would commit murder in such a manner. Miranda James has a new one. We've got some cozy names this week. Names in Cozy Land. Miranda James, 17th in the Cat in the Stacks Mysteries. This is Something Whiskered. Charlie Harris and his wife Helen Louise Brady have arrived in Ireland for their honeymoon. After a few days in Dublin, they head to County Clare, ancestral home to Helen Louise's extended family, the O'Bradys. Her cousin Lorcan runs Castle O'Brady as a bed and breakfast with his wife. Oh, I don't know how to say that one. It's probably something very simple. And their daughter and son-in-law. Upon arrival at the castle, the newlyweds are shocked to see a body falling from the roof. The dead man is centenarian Finn, Baron O'Brady, Lorcan's grandfather, which means that Lorcan now becomes the new Baron O'Brady. Was someone in a hurry for Lorcan to assume the title and ownership of the estate? Or is there another reason for wanting Finn dead? And why is a ghostly cat making an appearance in their room? Is he trying to warn them? Charlie and Helen Louise must answer these questions and more as they realize the local Garda can't solve the crime alone. And along with Diesel, they will have to investigate themselves or risk something wicked coming their way. Resorts and Racketeering by Diane Harmon. 13th in the Clean Sweep Cozy Mysteries. Jane Barrow thought her biggest worry was keeping her cleaning business running smoothly while raising two kids as a single mom in small town Alma, Kansas. But when the powerful A.E. Miller Group arrives with plans to build a luxury resort, Jane discovers that some developers will stop at nothing, including blackmail, threats, and intimidation to get what they want. When mysterious lawyer George Jackson approaches Jane with disturbing evidence that the development company is forcing local residents to sell their properties through coercion, Jane finds herself drawn into a dangerous investigation. Armed with little more than her determination to protect her community, she begins uncovering a web of corruption that reaches deeper than she ever imagined. As Jane digs deeper, she attracts the attention of Charlie Booker, a menacing enforcer who shadows her every move and isn't afraid to make threats against her family. But with the help of her boyfriend Mike, a Kansas state trooper and an unlikely ally within the company itself, Jane must gather evidence to expose the truth before more innocent families lose their homes. Camping Canine by Alice Kanaka, third in the Mavis and Hornwhistle Cozy Mysteries. Good afternoon, Helen. How's your day going? Chasing warm weather on their way to Los Angeles, Lizzie and Holly stop in the small town of Serenity, Texas. Leisurely days spent hiking and playing in the pool are just what they need after an arsonist burns Holly's animal clinic to the ground. And Lily's invitation to speak at a major writers' convention is what she needs to conquer the fear that sent her into hiding. What begins as a series of warm domestic moments, shared campfire breakfasts, heartfelt conversations, and quirky escapades gradually turns into a dangerous labyrinth of blackmail, betrayal, and murder. Through it all, Lizzie's spunky miniature dachshund Mavis unearths clues and sniffs out danger in the most unpredictable ways. End of row 2. Mayhem at a Halloween Wedding by Emmeline Duncan, second in the Halloween Bookshop Mysteries. There's more to celebrate this Halloween when Bailey's college friend Raven prepares to walk down the aisle in spooky seasonal style. As a bridesmaid, Bailey is overwhelmed helping with wedding preparations while the annual holiday festival scares up business for her bookstore. She also finds herself playing peacekeeper between fellow bridesmaids, Colby and Ivy, whose arguments add even more conflict to the already simmering tensions within the wedding party between the groom's traditional family and the bride's bohemian parents. Trying to ease stress and enjoy the spirit of the season, Bailey arranges the bachelorette party on the night of the Halloween parade. Everyone agrees to join in the festivities and dress up in costume, but running into several people dressed as the Grim Reaper turns out to be a bad omen. An explosion rocks the route, causing a panic. When the smoke clears, Ivy is found dead, believed to be murdered, and Colby is questioned by police after several witnesses report the very public clashes between the two bridesmaids. Narrowing down a list of suspects to prove Colby's innocence means Bailey will have to find a motive that drove a killer and keep her friend's wedding bells from becoming funeral knells. Ellen says, she's good, thanks. I've got a crown. That's exciting. Oh, yay. Crown is in teeth crown? Those are always nice afterward. Elena, yesterday was Christina's birthday. Oh, we'll have to, when we see her, we'll have to remember to say happy birthday. Lots of birthdays. A Ghostwriter's Guide to Murder by Melinda Mullet. Maeve Gardner kills people for a living, a dodgy occupation perhaps, but as ghostwriter for the long-running Simon Hills mysteries, Maeve has planned the perfect murder time and again, and she enjoys it. She dreams of writing something under her own name someday rather than babysitting her adopted character Simon, but at least she's writing, and as one of the burnt-out souls who've run away from dry land to live on London's waterways, she has the joy of working from the home she loves, a colorful houseboat. Life on the canals is grand, but when her cheating ex-boyfriend turns up floating face down in the water outside her boat, murdered, and the police arrest her, the plot takes a wayward turn. Suddenly, Maeve is thrust into one of her own crime dramas, complete with missing money, violent thugs, extortion, and conspiracy. Only this time, there is no real-life Simon Hill to come to her aid. Instead, the help of friends from the river, India, owner of a popular floating bookshop, Paul, the exceedingly attractive landlord of the local pub, and Ash, Maeve's quiet, nerdy neighbor who is keeping some secrets of his own, Maeve may have a shot at saving herself. That Missing Piece is Killing Me by Roz Noonan, second in the Alice Pepper Lonely Hearts and Puzzle Club Mysteries. Oh my. The owner of a dance and martial arts studio, 63-year-old Michelle Chong, is a well-liked fixture in the West Hazel community, despite being married to the famous and famously temperamental artist Lars Olsen. That's why when she disappears, people don't blame her for fleeing her dysfunctional marriage. Still, Alice has her suspicions, especially after learning about Lars' violent past and current affair. When Alice receives a custom-made puzzle as a gift, the artwork seems so familiar that she assumes it's from Lars as an apology for his bad behavior during her recent visit. You don't know people very well, do you? As she and her friends get to work on it, they're stymied by a missing piece. With evidence pointing to Michelle's disappearance being planned, Alice turns her attention to her own fractured family, but a shocking chain of events culminating in a brutal murder makes Alice question if any piece of the past can ever be put to rest. Deadly Deeds by Jenna St. James, 32nd in the Witch in the Woods series. With Gigi and Byron off on their honeymoon and Zoe and Harlow at a 4-day seminar at PADA headquarters, why does this sound familiar? You'd think Enchanted Island would be nice and quiet, but that's not the case when Shayla gets a call from her gargoyle husband, Sheriff Alex Stone. A body is in a stream, and as the game warden, it's her case. But Shayla is one step ahead already. She knows the dead guy. She and Wendy Franz, a newcomer and fellow witch to the island, had met him just the day before. As Shayla, Needles, Alex, and Grant uncover clues, it becomes clear our dead guy wasn't well liked. Can Shayla and Needles figure out who murdered the Badger Shifter before more bodies start to pile up? Badger Shifter. End of that row. Secrets in the Ash by Jennifer Lush, third in the Fog Point Harbor series. Oops, this comes out later. They shifted on us. Murder at the Wham Bam Club. This is during Prohibition era, it looks like. After the death of her brave Harlem Hellfighter husband during the First World War, young widow Nola Ann Jackson returns to her hometown of Agate, Illinois to live with her aunt Sarah, a known local psychic. Under her aunt's care and tutelage, Nola has been learning how to tap into her own intuitive gifts and communicate with the spirits, and she will rely on her insightful guidance when she's asked to help investigate a woman's disappearance. Lily Davidson, the missing woman, was living at the Phyllis Wheatley Institute for Colored Girls, where young ladies are educated and prepared to follow bright futures. But she vanished after a night at the Wham Bam Club, where jazz music swings, prohibition is defied, and other vices are encouraged. Lily was seen fraternizing with Eddie Smooth, a trumpeter and leader of the St. Louis Stompers, and a notorious pimp. Nola finds Lily at the club alive and well, supposedly engaged to Eddie. That same night, the Wham Bam is set afire and Eddie is killed by gunfire, leaving Lily on the run, a suspected murderer. Eddie Smooth had shady dealings with Agate's wealthy elite, black and white, making plenty of enemies with motives for wanting him dead. He was also a notorious womanizer who left several broken hearts in his wake. To prove Lily's innocence, Nola must listen to her spiritual instincts to unravel political schemes and personal vendettas to find a killer desperate to cover up a scandalous conspiracy. Death on the Menu by Poppy Bridgman. When Eliza Burton agrees to serve up comfort food at the Nueva Vida charity food fair, she's expecting a good cause, great company, and maybe even a date or two. What she doesn't expect is a customer collapsing in front of her booth and the discovery that peanut oil was deliberately added to her meal. With her diner shut down and suspicion swirling, Eliza has no choice but to trade her apron for the amateur sleuthing badge. But her untangling the clues isn't easy when one of her closest friends is in deep trouble with a local gang and her heart is caught between two very different men. As Eliza digs deeper into the victim's life, she finds herself balancing dangerous secrets, second chances, and recipes that could kill. Someone has murder on the menu, and if Eliza isn't careful, she'll be the next course. Maine Coon Mayhem by Iris Lee. 6 in the Cat Aunt Cozy Mystery. Someone wants to kill my mentor, and it's up to me to figure out who and why. My name is Cat Jones, and I'm solving my very first case without the input of mentor Mrs. Higgins. It's not by choice, but because someone wants her dead, and I must do everything in my power to keep her safe. As if that isn't baffling enough, there is a new cat in town, and I might have met my match. Now it's up to me and my new sidekick Willow to solve a murder on the spookiest night of the year. As we gather to celebrate in our costumes, what we discover will destroy friendships, unravel hidden agendas, and shake the foundation of my life. We will squeeze in one more just because we had to delete that one. Mystery Along the British Isles by A. Nation, 5th in the Travel Mystery series. A rich baron answers Rosetta's detective for hire ad in England. Between blackouts and bank robberies, Rosetta and her daughter travel across England hoping to find the missing man. A man is murdered. Are the bank robberies connected? Rosetta hadn't seen her cousin for many years and accepts his offer to drive her across England. Follow them from Stonehenge to Wales to Ireland and Scotland, admiring the landscapes, tasting the food, and learning about culture. And perhaps, like solving a murder. You are a crime fiction. All right, that is all we have time for. Everybody remember where we parked. Keep in mind our next show is on Wednesday. Elena says, I'll be doing a birthday sprint for my birthday. I will do my very best to watch it. She says, see you this Wednesday for my birthday. I'll be here for birthday till 12. My birthday's over at 12 a.m. on a Thursday. Indeed it is. You're going to have such a great day. A couple more days left. Whew. And she says, have a great day. Back at you, baby. All right. So again, I don't have any sprints tonight. Our next sprints are tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then morning show the next day on Wednesday. So basically one show a day. It's hard for me to remember, so I kind of say it out loud. Hope you have a good Monday. Be safe. Read good books. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Om nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.